Hello everybody, welcome to Raspberries Gaming and to, well, I believe this will be our first ever episode of Is It Worth the Grind? This is a new series that I've been working on that I've been secretly trying to hold back until I got enough stuff done to get to it, so get on with it. Well, this is what's going to be. Worth the Grind is going to be a new series where basically we go down a line and basically what's basically the title? Is it worth the grind to get to it? So, to tier 10. So, the first line we're going to do is something that I kind of hold dear because, one, it kind of fits me because, you know, American me, like American Pie. And number two is also because, well, it was the first line that I ever completed at tier 10. So, this basically is the ships that have the, to me, the most experience of knowing or doing or playing, because I played them so much that I know pretty much how I feel in and out with every single ship. So, we're going to start with the American Battleship line. So that's going to be from tier 3 to tier 10. To get to these ships, if you're a new player, to get there you have to finish 2 of the other preceding ships down the line. If I show you here on the tech tree, you have to finish, actually 3, sorry. You have to finish 3 ships. You have to finish Erie, Chester, and St. Louis. Once you complete St. Louis, you unlock the chance to pick up this ship, the Tier 3 South Carolina. So we'll go down these ships as we go with the numbers and stuff like that. You don't have to see them right here. This is a different thing we're going to be talking about, but you have Tier 3 South Carolina, your Tier 4 Wyoming, Tier 5 New York, Tier 6 New Mexico, Tier 7 Colorado, Tier 8 North Carolina, Tier 9 Iowa, and of course the Tier 10 Montana. So we'll be going over all these ships and showing what their strengths, weaknesses are, and sum it up in a nice bow real quick for you guys. Is it worth the grind? So let's hop to it. I'll show you guys what these ships are and what their strengths, weaknesses, and everything else. Let's get, as we say, march on forward. Okay, folks, so the first one is the South Carolina, the Tier 3 battleship from the American Navy, the real first dreadnought. Now, she has 305mm, 45 caliber Mark V guns, with a reload of only 30 seconds. The guns are quite slow, and she only has a max speed with the upgrade 18 knots. So she is slow, she's cumbersome with a range of only 15.7, and she really doesn't have any anti-air to speak of. Now what's nice is she has the best in-tier range and handling compared to the other battleships. Another kicker, all the guns are one side, they're not in weird angles, so you can super fire them. All the guns, one shot, which I like it. However, though, generally slug for new players, especially, it has a really bad detection range, doesn't have very good secondary armament, and if it goes against any tiers above it, it's going to struggle. But this ship definitely has quite the armor at its tier and turning radius, so it's a solid ship overall for starting. If you want to solidly go get her started for a battleship, she's not as overpowered as a lot of other ships at the tier, but solid tier 3, good reference of how to play a battleship and how to be a battleship player is right there in tier 3. Ready for anybody who wants to start on a battleship line. You know, there's nothing going wrong with going with South Carolina, and the whole meta definitely gets a little better when you get to tier 4. And tier 4, you have Wyoming. She was basically a first generation of the typical battleship quote by the Americans. She has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 of those 305 guns, but now they're the Mark 7s with a AP damage of 8,300 damage. Devastating broadsides this sucker has. Her piercing can basically penetrate the armor of any ship that she can counter, and capable of destroying destroyers too. Well, armor 2, capable of repelling small caliber shells, has a pretty short turning radius, but she's painfully slow with only a speed of only, maximum 20.5 kilometers, so she's not terribly great. Anti-air's not 100% overpowered either, but she can basically hold herself against some aircraft. And on top of that, she does have a pretty good radius of 15.8 again. So she has something, but 3 of the turrets, you get a literally go broadside to bring them out. Enter Tier 5, the New York. Basically a developed version of the Wyoming class with now, 14-inch guns. These 356 are pretty powerful. She has a AP damage of 10,300 and a very significant upgrade for anti-air at her. It can definitely be a hazard even to tier 4 and her own fare. Basically a well-round, more heavily armed than Congo, but the problem with this ship is the front and rear parts of the ship are are weak. Sorry, I can't even pronounce it in my mouth right now. Like bleh. Weak and can get citadel because it doesn't have a lot of frontal space or any armor there to give. So that's its kind of Achilles heel. But you have to use it very quickly, the right angles. If you don't, it's going to get punished. Enter Tier 6, the New Mexico. A buffed up version of this ship. Way better armor, way better guns, because now you got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Triple gun 356, so they're even better. So you can do 12 of these suckers. Very good velocity, very good protection at Tier 6 for AA. Excellent maneuverability, superb firing angles for these guns, as you can see here, and a very good thick armor. She does have lagging accuracy, and she does have very slow speed and a large superstructure, but and one of the worst ranges for a battleship. But I always say that this is more of a brawling battleship compared to the other ones, and she definitely can brawl and duke out with Fuso and the other ships. At Tier 7, that is something to be a curveball. Colorado. This ship has gotten people either gripes or loves. She has now 4 of the turrets again, but only 2 guns this time, 16-inch 406s, and she has one of the most pretty powerful AAs at her tier. Good steering response, equipped with artillery propelling room, can basically be effective against her counterparts. She has a seaplane. Main batteries, Freds can pretty much out-destroy anything at close range. Her armor is pretty especially with the 25mm plating. You're just gonna get punished with shells hitting. Anything can overmatch by 15-inch guns, so it's pretty bad. The close quarters even bad. The low number of guns, and she's not at being accurate with the shots is more important with it, and especially her maneuverability. Only having max speed 21 knots, you're going to struggle compared to other ones who like Nagato and Scharnhorst and Gneisenau, which are way faster of a ship. They can definitely send you back to port very quickly if you don't take care of them very quickly with your 16-inch guns. Every shell will count on that ship. Enter Tier 8, the new line of American battleships, replacing the old lines with the new ones. At World War II, now we're getting the speeds at 27.5 knots and have a way better handling. It's different, but it's good. Highest range of any Tier 8 ship, a unrivaled AA defense, a very durable armor at its angle, and 16-inch guns that are just like Iowa and Montana at Tier 9, Tier 10, with a little decreased range, but she is pretty good. However, large citadel, extremely poor torpedo defense, the rudder's quite very slow, and her, armor can basically get destroyed if you don't angle this ship. If, like I said before, and I'll say it again, we said the armor's good, but you have to angle it. If you don't angle it, this ship definitely bites you in the butt. And that's one of the weaknesses I always said about the new line. You go to this all or nothing armor scheme from tier 7 to tier 3. And then you get into North Carolina and it looks completely different and you think it's the same thing, you're going to be sorely mistaken. Now, again, anti-air is insane. Speed, insane. Guns, very good. But you have to use the armor correctly, because if you don't, you're going to get punished. Because if you show just a bit of your broadside, you're going to take a lot of punishment. Because this ship's citadel is so large and so wide that if you show enough skin, so to speak, of your side, and there's a powerful enough shell coming into you, you're going to take the full frontal pain of this ship penetrating your getting citadeled. And that's something you need to be careful with. However, if you know how to battle tank, which is pointing the nose, and you have that 32mm bow on this ship, it's just going to bounce off that. The only weaknesses is Yamato and Musashi, the premium. Because of their gun counters being bigger, they can overmatch the 32mm bow and penetrate your citadel. And of course, the top deck, which that's a different story. Now, Tier 9, the Iowa, is one of the most powerful battleships of World War II, and she is one of the, well, fastest battleships in the game. With a speed with her upgraded to 33 knots, she's insanely fast. A very solid, versatile ship with a very, very powerful armament. She definitely has quite the good penetration, able to mount a plotting room for better dispersion. Improved, now it goes from 19 to 29% on your torpedo protection, and she also has, again, a very solid anti-air defense. Again, World War II, America started to throw a lot of AA guns on it to help defend against not just themselves, but aircraft carriers, and try to help as much as they can, and try to clear the ground with flak so that the Japanese couldn't even get anywhere near these ships, or any of their allies. However, there is a few weaknesses. The superstructure in this thing is massive, and because of it, a lot of HE shells are going to be spamming at you, bringing a lot of fires and a lot of things. Number 2, until you get the Sea Hull, her rudder shift is over 20 seconds, so she's basically a land yacht. She has a very weak broadside, but she's better than North Carolina, but she's not any better. As I said before, if you show broadside in a lot of battleships, especially American line, you're going to get punished. But never more so than North Carolina, Montana, and Iowa especially. However, also another issue is because of how big this ship is, and you can see how massive she is, she also has a very hard difficulty of dodging torpedoes. If you can dodge them, you're a ninja master. So she definitely is not the ship to go duking out. Luckily, her torpedo protection is quite solid, so if you do take one or two, you should be able to brush them off, but you're definitely going to feel the punishment. And again, these guns, again, even better than the previous predecessor at now 13,500. Enter the tier 10. This would have been America's project battleship, but was never completed. Again, same guns, Mark 7, but now you have 4 of these turrets, and have a solid anti-air defense. You have 12 guns you can fire now at your enemy, and one of the best anti-air suites at tier 10. Secondaries have pretty good, fare for her style, even though it's not a German. And she can be fairly stealthy, even though she's not a conqueror. But really, the only thing is she's got that. Her bow armor can be matched by Yamato. She's sluggish to accelerate. Her dispersion is kind of frustrating without the plotting room. With it. Uses the same as Iowa with no real upgrade to that, and also she has one of the largest citadels. When they're below the waterline, it's a massive citadel for this ship, so she can get pretty punished pretty quickly. But if you know how to battle tank and not deal with a Yamato, you can definitely handle yourself quite well, especially with a decent traverse of your guns. 12 rounds every 30 seconds. That's basically 24 rounds a minute, so it's pretty good for a battleship. So overall, how's the American line? It's quite solid overall. From tier 3 to tier 7, you're on the armored tank line, I always say. It's a sluggish, boxed, armored vehicle. Sort of like the heavy tanks that America worked on. They can take the punch while dealing a punch. At tier 8, 9, and 10, you get this very good guns, large citadels, very tanky armor in selected areas. Now, it doesn't mean that they're armored, but if you go at wrong angles, you're going to be severely punished. And because of that, you have to know how to position yourself overall. So if you want to go down American line, that's best the overall what it's going to be. Is it worth the grind? I enjoyed it. I had fun the American line. I still play on my antenna once in a while, and I still love wrecking the enemy. So if you guys like this video, hit the like video. If you didn't dislike it. Write down in the comments down below, and there's also a description where you can find my Twitter, my Twitch, and all that. Thanks everybody for coming on in and seeing this Is It Worth the Grind? As always, thank you so much for coming on in. Take care of yourselves, and see you on the high seas.